We've made it back to Monday. It's a new week, but still kicking that good, fresh energy of a number one forum for Crimson Tide football news with your conductor to all things Alabama football. We're going to have fun today. Yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, and this is In My Own Words, coming to you from the magic city of Birmingham, streaming the show to you via YouTube. Speaking of a channel, go ahead right now, run those likes up. Give a thumbs up on the show, hit that subscribe button, turn all of those notifications on so that way you can have all of your coverage, your updates, your conversation, your entertainment when it comes to Crimson Tide football. Not only are we streaming this to you through the YouTube channel, but also we got you covered here, Facebook and Twitter as well. All forms of social media got you locked, loaded, and set to go. The show brought to you by WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. That is WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. If you have not already done so, go ahead right now and cop you that four-finger bling necklace, four-finger bling jewelry, showing that support to Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, and the student athletes and the pageantry, the ability to own and or dominate that fourth quarter. So check them out right now. WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. Gotta give a shout out to my man John Ivory, starting a brand new week. He is in that production studio doing his thing. And a shout out to you, the best fans of college football, the Alabama Nation. We're so happy to have you guys tuning in to the show on this evening. We got a lot to unpack, to get into spring football. The date is being set up for March the 17th. That's the projected day for the first day of spring practice, March 17th. Really excited to get back out into that practice field if the media is allowed to be back out there to get the footage, take the pictures, and see what does Alabama have in store for us, not just for spring ball, but getting into the fall campaign for college football as a whole. But like I mentioned, got a lot to get into, a lot to talk about. Very excited to have you guys on here. The daily Super Chat goal, as always, $75 Super Chats, daily goal right there. And you, as the Alabama faithful, have been terrific. You guys have been outstanding. We appreciate the love, the support, the joy that you give us here on the platform. We're going to be joined later on in the show by two outstanding guests. First and foremost, we'll have Josh Tolentino, who covers the Miami Dolphins for The Athletic. He's coming on to talk Tua Tagovailoa, the offseason work that he's been putting in, and will Miami commit to Tua? There's been a lot of chatter back and forth on the Dolphins being one of the teams intrigued by Deshaun Watson. Will they entertain the Houston Texans? Will they entertain the deal there from the Texans to get Watson? So we'll talk with Tolentino about the Dolphins. How committed are they to Tua, and how committed are they to possibly bringing in Devonta Smith and Najee Harris in terms of the upcoming draft? And then we'll sit down with former Alabama defensive lineman Rudy Griffin, of whom before he was the head coach, or he became the head coach for Bessemer City High School, he was the defensive coordinator at Hewitt-Trussville High School, and he spent a lot of time with one Paul Tyson. So we're going to get a chance to talk with Coach Griffin about what does he see in Tyson coming into the upcoming season in terms of him battling for the quarterback job and trying to fend off trying to beat out, as I should say, the likes of Bryce Young and Jalen Milroe. But before we dive into the first topic of conversation, cool little update here, and it's just Alabama athletics has been awesome in the last week here. When you talk Alabama men's basketball, those guys are on a tear under Nate Oates, number 6 in the country right now, 18-5 record. They got a chance to win the SEC for the regular season prior to going to the SEC tournament. I've already stated the one thing I want from this men's basketball program is to make the Sweet 16. They get in the Sweet 16, I'm good. Alabama gets anywhere past, if they get above the Sweet 16, bury your boy in the backyard. I've already said this, but men's basketball on a tear. Women's basketball under Christy Curry, they're positioning itself for the NCAA tournament. Softball starting off on fire. The girls under Patrick Murphy 8-0 on the year. And even baseball under Coach Bohannon starting off undefeated. So all forms of Alabama athletics doing their job. Very proud of Greg Byrne as the athletic director, putting everybody in spots to be successful. But now we jump into topic number one of conversation, and it goes to Paul Tyson. Y'all, this young man is no joke. He is seriously gearing up to make this Alabama quarterback competition, quarterback race, all the more interesting, all the more intriguing. We had a chance to last week feature LaVale Durant, the elite quarterback developer out of Seattle, Washington, on the show. And Durant spoke to me and spoke to us about how he would be in Tuscaloosa in Alabama on last week working with Tyson. He was at the campus over the weekend at the indoor practice facility, and he worked with Paul on not just the passing mechanics, but the footwork, the accuracy, just the overall just package here on being a successful quarterback just on the field. And as you're watching this video play on screen right now, you are seeing Paul make a number of different throws. You're seeing the footwork, and just the footwork in itself, his ability to move his feet smoothly, fluently, within the pocket, climbing the pocket, going from side to side. It's as if his feet, his arm, his eyes, everything is in one synchronized motion. He's making throws downfield. He's making all the throws downfield. The accuracy within the throws, the arm strength, putting the ball out there. You're seeing him change speeds, change velocities, change tempos. It's good to see right now. It is really good to see right now. And of course, Durant has spoken to me on a number of different occasions that Tyson can make all the throws on the field. He can put the ball directly on the receivers. He can lead them with pinpoint accuracy, precision, and ball placement. He can do everything that you want to see done for him to be a starting quarterback in college football, most importantly, a starting quarterback at the University of Alabama. And when you talk Paul, 6'5", 235 pounds. And also when you talk Paul, when he came out of Hewitt-Trussville High School as a four-star in the 2019 class, more than 6,500 passing yards for him, 69 touchdowns to just 13 interceptions. And I remember about 3 to 4 years back, so this would be Paul's either junior or senior year at Hewitt-Trussville, I locked myself in my office with nothing but 2 bottles of Gatorade. And I religiously, for the fun of it, put on Paul Tyson film, and I'm studying this film frame by frame, bit by bit, angle by angle, piece by piece. And as I'm watching this film, as I'm in my intense study of this film here, I'm thinking to myself, there are four pro quarterbacks in Paul Tyson's game in terms of current guys and guys and former players. There are 4 NFL quarterbacks in Paul Tyson's game when I took down that film 3 to 4 years ago. The guy has the body of Ben Roethlisberger. He's got the footwork of Aaron Rodgers to me. He's got the mentality of Tom Brady, and he's got the arm talent in terms of accuracy, precision, strength, placement, the ability to change the torque and the speed and the touch. In terms of just arm mechanics, he's got the arm mechanics of a young Phillip Rivers mixed with Drew Brees. And I said this 3 to 4 years ago, and I'm sticking by exactly what I said, especially when you look at the clip here, on screen, the footwork, him being able to shuffle his feet, maneuver within the pocket, and then being able to even go outside the pocket and extending the play on a little bit of a throw there that he has here, on this film. And not just the footwork, but also having that ability to just shoot the ball out there. Bryce Young's got athleticism. Bryce Young's got mobility. Bryce Young's got the ability to create some magic, but Paul Tyson, he is shooting that ball out there. He is launching that ball 70 to 80 yards with no problem. I'm not seeing Bryce do this. I'm not seeing Bryce shooting this ball out here 70 to 80 yards, accurate, with precision, with touch, with velocity, with the ability to change speeds. I'm not seeing Bryce do this the way Paul is shooting and rocketing this ball out there. And the confidence, that's the big part, and the confidence of which he is doing this in. He is putting himself in the mindset right now to make this quarterback race, this quarterback competition, all the more interesting, all the more intriguing, from spring ball going down into summer workouts, fall camp, and most importantly, the upcoming season. And just to me for a second here, Tyson was born to do this. He was born to be an Alabama football starting quarterback. I mean, even with, his great-grandfather being Paul Bear Bryant here, Paul Tyson came out the womb with a houndstooth hat, a football, and a national championship trophy. Paul Tyson came out the womb with all of those things. He came out the womb ready to go. And to me, you don't have to explain. With other people, Nick Saban has to explain the Bama factor and stress the Bama factor and show clips and show footage and show video of the Bama factor. The factor is written all over Paul Tyson's face. He is the Bama factor. He was birthed into this thing. You don't have to explain anything to Paul. You see it on his face. You see it how he walks. You see it how he carries himself. He knows. He was born to be an Alabama quarterback. His very steps have been processed and projected for this particular moment. And he's been ready for this since day one. I mean, he's been preparing for this better than Ben Affleck, Will Smith, and Matthew McConaughey have been preparing for movie roles. I mean, Paul Tyson has been waiting for this very moment since birth. And it's almost like when Tom Brady was preparing to be a starting quarterback for the New England Patriots. He had been preparing for that moment since his days in the backyard playing with his dad. Tom Brady had been preparing for this moment since his days at Michigan, when he had to fight through different quarterbacks to grab the starting job, and upon grabbing the starting job, having to fend off the likes of Drew Henson to keep the starting job. But Tom Brady was even preparing for this while he was on the bench for the Patriots and Drew Bledsoe was the starter. So he worked for that moment. And the same thing here with Paul Tyson. He's been working toward this moment his entire life. And the best thing that could have happened to him, and I mentioned this before, was the performance that Mac Jones had a season ago. Paul is Mac with a bigger body and an even more livelier arm. And we have seen under Nick Saban that you don't need the overly athletic, you don't need the 5-star all the time to win a national championship. You don't need it all the time. We saw other guys come through this program that were not necessarily 5-stars, but won national championships. And when I look at Paul, this dude right here, bigger than the name. Legacy name, but he's putting in the work to show you I'm more than just Bear Bryant's grandson. Let me show you, but I'm going to take this team and win a national championship with this team. Last but not least, people, I'm not going to call myself an Alabama quarterback prophet by any sense of the imagination, but since 2014, I'm 3 for 3. I've hit on 3 different quarterbacks. 2014, everybody said Jacob Coker. I said, nah, Blake Sims. Blake Sims won the job. 2016, everybody said, get on the Blake Barnett bus. I said, this Jalen Hurts kid, he's something different. Jalen wins the job. 2020, everybody says Bryce Young. I'm like, Mac Jones, here's the guy. Folks, I'm 3 for 3. I'm one more short of a Wendy's meal. I'm one short of that Wendy's 4 for 4. I'm telling you, folks, watch Paul Tyson. To me, this is the guy right here to be the starting quarterback for the Crimson Tide. We take our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. We're just getting you started here. Upon our return, we entertain your phone calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your chats, your concerns after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up. Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit Emily'sHeirloomPoundCakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at Emily'sHeirloomPoundCakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
And we are back in from the break here, folks, on a Monday. How to show on the streets, #1 forum for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, coming to you from the Magic City of Birmingham. And I know we're in the call segment right now, 205-448-1358. That's the number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Game. But as you guys are getting your thoughts together to call in, a little bit of a cool topic right now, and it goes to one Mac Jones. All it took was one season, people, and he's become the center of every conversation in terms of the NFL draft. Where does Mac go to in the upcoming venue here in April? Because Mike Tannenbaum, who is a former NFL executive, he keeps talking about he doesn't see Mac dropping outside of top 10. He looks at Mac going 8 to the Carolina Panthers. If the Panthers entertain the whole Deshaun Watson deal with Houston, you could see a team trade up to get Mac. Where do you see Jones going in the draft? Because right now, to me, he projects between picks 8 and 21. He's gonna go in the first round. He solidified that the way he played this past season, the way he performed at the Senior Bowl. So he has solidified he is definitely a validated first-round pick. But where does he go between picks 8 and 21? That's the question. Who gets him? Who picks him up? Who makes the move and rolls the dice to select one Mac Jones? Because he's the guy everybody from top to bottom is discussing right now. But we take our first call of the evening, brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang. You're live on the show. What's going on? Live on the show, caller. What's going on? You're live on the show. Well, we lost that caller. Continue to get your thoughts together, folks, and call in 205-448-1358. Want to hear from you, the passionate fans of Bama football. 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. But the topic being, Mac Jones, where do you see him going to in this upcoming draft? What team would you like to see take Mac? Because there's been conversations of maybe the Atlanta Falcons, maybe the Carolina Panthers, maybe the San Francisco 49ers, maybe the New England Patriots. So many people are comparing him to one Tom Brady, and after the Patriots missed out on the playoffs last year for the first time since 2008, maybe Belichick gets his guy in Mac Jones. Maybe Mac goes to the Washington football team. We don't know how much longer Alex Smith is going to play. It could be one more year. It could be a couple more years. But Smith would be a good mentor for Mac to learn from. And you even got the Pittsburgh Steelers in there. The Steelers are willing to kind of move off of Ben Roethlisberger. Do you take Mac if you're Pittsburgh? But we take a call right now. You're live on the show. What's going on?
Steve,
What's happening?
what's going on, my guy? You know this Joe from Flo. What's going on, Steve?
Joe from Flo, man, what's happening with you?
Not a whole lot, man. I like Mac Jones though. I like Mac Jones. I think he's gonna have good success. But I'm calling, man, because my boy's making some noise down on the plains, Steve.
And who would that be?
Harson. Harson making some noise on the plains down there. Yes.
Well, he's going to look to be a difference maker for Auburn. I mean, once again, it was a move that some of the Auburn faithful were like, I don't know about this one, but he's a guy that is going to go against the grain. So it's going to be fun to see what he puts out there.
Well, I mean, he's taking a recruiting class from 47, and I think right now we're all the way down to 20. You took a guy, Dylan Brooks, you got that guy from Tennessee. Everything is looking up. So as soon as they went ahead and told the Gus bus off, everything is looking up. It's great. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait to see it. But yeah, man, Mac Jones, I think he underrated, man. For real. I think he's good. I see Devonta Smith was saying something about him being better than Tua. He got a case, man. He got a case.
I mean, and Devontae wasn't wrong with what he said. And I'm going to break this down a little bit later in the show because you got a lot of people on social media acting like, why did Smitty say that? He should have kept his mouth shut, should have stayed neutral. It was nothing wrong about what he said. He has the right to that opinion. But Joe from Flo, we appreciate that call right there from my man Joe talking about Auburn and one Mac Jones, who is an underrated guy. I'm looking forward to seeing where does he go to in this draft. We take our next call. You're live on the show. What's going on tonight?
Hey, that's Steven Smith. How you doing?
Man, I am doing fantastic. It's Monday. I'm talking to Alabama football fans. I'm luckier than a $2 bill, man. I'm feeling good.
I wanted to ask you. I think Mac Jones is a great quarterback for Alabama. And do you see him going in the first round, like to the Patriots or some other team?
I definitely see him going first round. The Patriots, that's the spot where a lot of people are pegging him to. I wouldn't mind New England, but I'm against New England because they don't have a whole lot of weapons to really put with him. I would like to see Mac go to – I would have liked to have seen Mac go to Indy, but with the Colts taking Carson Wentz in the trade, now I'm looking like, well, Mac to the Carolina Panthers. Put Mac Jones with Coach Rule and Joe Brady. Let Mac go to Carolina at 8. Now, a sneaky good move would be Mac to the New Orleans Saints. You put Mac with Sean Payton and Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara, that's sex appeal on top of sex appeal. So the sneaky pick would be Mac to New Orleans.
Yes, that I believe that's so as well. Thank you, Steven Smith.
Absolutely. Mac Jones to New Orleans, would love to see that happen. But folks, we're going to take a break right now. Hold for the break. We're going to get back to you guys in the next 10 minutes here. In the next 10 minutes, when we come back from the other side of the break, we got our two awesome guests, Josh Tolentino, who covers the Miami Dolphins for The Athletic. We're talking Tua Tagovailoa with him, and we continue the Paul Tyson conversation with my man, Rudy Griffin, former Bama defensive lineman. We talk with both guys after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
All right, folks, we are back in from the break here on the number one forum for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine on a Monday. I'm just so ready for spring football for Bama. I'm just on edge right now. March 17th is the projected start date for spring practice, so I'm ready to get out for the seed. This quarterback race and everything along with it when you talk Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide. But we're going to go over to the In My Own Words hotline where we pick up our first of two outstanding guests. He is the man on the ground, the legend of all things Miami football beat reporting, my man Josh Tolentino, who covers the Dolphins for The Athletic. Josh, is so happy to have you back in here. Brother, how you feeling right now?
Hey, Steven, doing well, man. We've got about a month before free agency and 2 months before the draft in April. And the Dolphins, obviously, there's a lot of storylines leading up to the draft and throughout free agency with them holding the number 3 and 18 picks as they continue to aim to build around Mr. Tua Tagovailoa, a well-known guy down there in Alabama. And it sounds like, and it looks like, Deshaun Watson rumors aside, they want to continue moving forward with Tua.
So let's start this thing off here with Tua, Josh. Tua right now has been training all off season. He's trying to get his hip, really, really mobile, trying to be able to showcase that he does have that athleticism. He can have that wow factor. He can bring that juice that Miami needs to the table. So as he goes into his sophomore year, year 2 with Miami, what are you expecting from Tua? Because they got rid of Chan Gailey as the offensive coordinator. They hired Charlie Fry, Tua's coach from the Elite 11, to be the QB coach for him at Miami. What are you expecting to see year 2 for Tua as he looks to take that next step forward?
Yeah, a lot of people have been critical of Tua's struggles throughout his rookie year. Any criticism regardless, he still went 6-3 as the starter, which is a pretty good record as the starting quarterback. A lot of that was attributed to the team's other successes, mainly the defense. But Tua still went 6-3 as the starter. You can't take that away from him. I think when you assess Tua's rookie year, you have to think about, from a Dolphins perspective, who he was throwing to. I mean, he went from working at Alabama with Jalen Waddle, Jerry Jeudy, all these weapons, Devonta Smith, to working with basically the last month of his rookie year as the Dolphins were fighting to compete for the playoffs. He was working with really the Dolphins' number 6, number 7, number 8 wide receivers on the depth chart, the backups of the backups that he was throwing to because the Dolphins had so many injuries to their top weapons. Devontae Parker was out for a good amount of time. Mike Gesicki suffered a shoulder injury at the end of the year. Myles Gaskin was missing for a good chunk there before the end of the year. So as everybody tries to critique and criticize Tua for his rookie year, you got to remember he didn't have much to work with. And, that's going to be the main should be at the main top list of priorities for the Dolphins, is surrounding him with talent. Is Tua, like what you mentioned, Steven, Tua is getting focused. He's working out. I actually drove past him not too long ago here nearby the team facility while I was just driving around town. So he's going to work. He's putting his head down and he's taking care of what he needs to do. Now the team needs to do better at surrounding him with more talented weapons who can be difference makers out there on the field.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got Josh Tolentino live on the phone lines right now, covers the Miami Dolphins for The Athletic, talking some Tua Tagovailoa here on a Monday, in my own words. So, Josh, a lot of teams are in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. A lot of teams are in this thing. And so Houston is not going to entertain any offers unless it starts with, we'll give you 3 first-round picks. And Miami is one of the teams that Deshaun Watson is very much so interested in. Do you see the Dolphins staying committed to Tua, or do they entertain what Miami's offer, what Houston's offering, come off of Tua and come off at least maybe 6 draft picks to get Deshaun Watson? What's the vibe in Miami in terms of, do we entertain the Deshaun Watson deal here?
Yeah, Stephen, I think anytime you're talking about a generational talent who's proven to be one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league, referring to Deshaun Watson, I think you'd be foolish not to entertain it. You have to pick up the phone. I mean, that's part of the job, is picking up the phone and seeing what Houston wants, what they have to offer, what you have to offer. I mean, that's part of the business, especially when it involves a top talent like that. However, I mean, there are signs that you've seen here in Miami over the past few weeks and months that show that, hey, yeah, they're going to do their due diligence and seeing what Houston is searching for in regards to Deshaun Watson. But also, I mean, they're making in-house moves that say, hey, we want to move forward with Tua. You look at 2 specific moves that in regards to the coaching staff. The Dolphins hired Charlie Frye as their quarterbacks coach, who Tua has a lot of familiarity with. You know, Charlie Frye, he's obviously a former NFL player, but not just that. He has a relationship with Tua that Tua had been involved with Charlie Frye dating back to his days from Elite 11 camp. So that's a guy that they know Tua can grow and develop under, and that he likes. And not just that, the Dolphins went ahead and promoted their co-offensive coordinators, Eric Stoodsville and George Godsey. And just really quick, Stephen, for background on George Godsey, he was the tight ends coach for the Dolphins this past year, a former offensive coordinator for the Texans. But the most important thing is that Tua is comfortable with Coach Godsey throughout this season. When the Dolphins' original quarterbacks coach from the season, Robbie Brown, he was placed on the COVID list. Tua had to work with George Godsey as a backups quarterbacks coach. You know what Tua's first game was working with George Godsey, Stephen? It was the Arizona Cardinals game, which happened to be one of Tua's best games of the year. He went out and out-dueled Kyler Murray down there in Arizona, and that was really Tua's best game of the year. That was his first game with Godsey. And throughout the season, Tua and Godsey remained in very close contact and in communication. So those are 2 moves, Charlie Frye and George Godsey, that show that we want to continue making Tua feel comfortable as we build the team around him.
Really quick here, Josh. So do you see Miami taking both Najee Harris and Devonta Smith in this draft and putting them both back with Tua?
You know, Stephen, I don't want to reveal too much, but tomorrow morning at The Athletic, we are unraveling our first edition of our mock draft. You know, we have a writer covering every team. And I think Alabama fans are going to like it. You know, they're definitely going to want to check that out. When you think about Devonta Smith, obviously him, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, they're the clear top 3 receivers in the draft. The wide receiver position should be the Dolphins' number 1 need when it comes to improving the team and the offense this offseason. And running back. Running back is also there in their top 3 position needs. So those are 2 definite guys that they'll take a long look at. And not just that, the Dolphins had the benefit of coaching the Senior Bowl, and they got close-up looks of Devonta Smith, Najee Harris. Even though they didn't play, they were in the meeting rooms with the Dolphins coaching staff. Brian Flores got to see them, how they interact in person, off the field. So those are important interactions as they go through the draft evaluation process for those 2 specific players.
Well, Bama Nation, once that mock draft comes out from our own, from Josh Tolentino here, covering the Dolphins for The Athletic, definitely check that out. They're Miami trying to land not Devonta Smith and Najee Harris to put both of those two back with one Tua Tagovailoa and run it back down there in South Beach. Josh, appreciate you coming on, man, to give us the scoop on Miami and what the Dolphins are trying to do moving forward and how Tua looks to be better in year 2. You stay safe, my man. Take care.
Hey, Steven, take care, brother. Make sure you check out that mock draft tomorrow at The Athletic. Again, Bama fans should be pretty happy. You know, the main message here, Steven, is regardless if they get Devontae, if they get Najee, Tua needs a running back and he needs a wide receiver. I mean, they need more guys down there to help him grow and develop if they want to untap into his full potential. So that should be the main message here coming into the offseason as they hit full stride.
Absolutely. Josh Tolentino right here live with us on the show from The Athletic, covering the Miami Dolphins for that brand. He's got that mock draft coming out, so Tide fans definitely look at that. Appreciate Josh for coming on, man. Appreciated him for the lowdown there on the Miami Dolphins, talking one Tua Tagovailoa. But we transition to our next guest, and it's my man Rudy Griffin, former Alabama defensive lineman, coach of Bessemer City High School. Before he was the coach of Bessemer City, he spent a lot of time as one of the coaches at Hewitt-Trussville High School, and he competed against one Paul Tyson in practices. Coach Rudy, what's going on, brother?
Man, what's going on? What's going on, big guy?
Man, I'm doing well. Hopefully you're doing good. So, dude, my man, Coach, the moment these videos dropped here of Paul Tyson coming from my guy Lavelle Durant, the elite quarterback developer out of Seattle, Washington, my jaw dropped. I mean, I know what Paul brings. I know what Tyson brings to the table. But watching these videos, Rudy, you and I have both talked about this at length. Paul Tyson is not playing around. He is no joke. And I remember you shared with me off the air, if Paul ever gets a shot at something, watch out. He's going to really pull this out.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Hey, no doubt. He's a man on a mission this year. And Bama fans, Bama Nation, just be ready, man, because this is something he was born to do. And I'm excited about it, man, and all the hard work he's putting in is coming to fruition, man, and everybody's seeing that. He just need a shot, and he's going to get that shot this year, and he ain't going to relinquish it.
Now, just going back to when you were coaching him when you were competing against him as the defensive coordinator at Hewitt-Trussville, what were some of the traits that stood out to you about Tyson? I know at Alabama, a lot of the fans, they look at social media and they go, ooh, he's a 5-star, and they jump on the bells and whistles and the notoriety and the fanfare and things of that nature. But when you coached against Paul in high school, what were some of the biggest traits that when you watched him, you thought, whoever gets this dude, forget about him being Paul Bear Bryant's great-grandson for just a moment, this young man can really, truly ball. What were the character traits or what were the on-the-field traits that you saw?
Man, he's a natural-born leader. I mean, he's a leader of men. And that's some of the stuff that you can't see on film. I mean, everybody can see that he can spin it. I mean, in my opinion, he's got one of the strongest arms in college football, which is evident in the film that we all seen. He threw the ball 80-something yards just standing there. But he's a leader of men. He has a Tom Brady-type leadership, the Drew Brees-type leadership, and I saw that in high school, man. And he led our team to one of the best records in school history.
Now, just going back to the arm here, as you're seeing the videos here, on screen, Bama fans out there, as you're seeing, as the videos are playing here, Rudy, when you watch Paul's arm, it's like he's effortlessly doing this. He doesn't have to put too much work into dropping back, shuffling his feet, and just shooting that ball downfield.
Oh, he has a rocket on his arm now, and like I said, in my opinion. And I'm willing to debate anybody on this. He has the strongest arm in college football, and ain't no doubt about it. And And so he's one of those guys that, I know for a fact he can throw the ball in any weather. And like I said, I'm willing to debate that to anybody about his arm strength. And that's something I saw even in high school, man. His accuracy. And one of the things I noticed just by watching that film, man, his footwork has got tremendously better. And, that's the dedication that young man has put in. Ain't nobody going to outwork him. And, it's a lot of people seeing the videos and stuff that he's doing publicly, but there's a lot of stuff that you don't see publicly. I mean, he's putting in the work off camera too.
If you're just tuning into the show, ladies and gentlemen, we got my man Rudy Griffin, former Alabama defensive lineman, live here on In My Own Words, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Coach Griffin, the head coach of Bessemer City High School, and prior to that, he was the defensive coordinator at Hewitt-Trussville High School, working with one Paul Tyson. Now, Coach Griffin, here's my biggest thought right here, and to me, this is what kind of irks me because people have kind of put me as the Bryce Young villain. And I've never been one against Bryce Young. I mean, I've always said he's got talent, he's got gifts, he's got ability, he can create some magic, he's a big-time playmaker, of which he is. I have always been one to say Bryce is good, but never discredit Paul. Never put Paul toward the back burner because he can play also. When people initially look at him, they go, well, he's a legacy guy. Paul Bryant was his granddad, so he's simply here just off of that. But he's at Alabama for more than just that. He had offers from a plethora of different schools. He just chose Alabama because he wants to defend home. So if you were to sell somebody on Paul as far as this is a guy that without a doubt can take this Alabama roster and win a national championship, how would you sell Paul Tyson to just the average everyday person, Coach Rudy?
Well, the thing is this, and you hit on it, man. A lot of folks discredited Paul. Of course, this is no shade on Bryce Young. He's a tremendous football player, outstanding football player. But I think, just like you said, a lot of people discredited Paul by saying, he's the only reason he got a scholarship and the only reason he's at Alabama because he's Paul Bear Bryant's great grandson. And Paul can ball. I mean, don't get it twisted. Paul can ball. He had scholarships from big time programs, LSU. I mean, you name it. You name it. I mean, he didn't have scholarships offers from just small Division I schools. He had big time Power 5 schools outside of the SEC as well. And like I said, he's a football player. I mean, he like I said, he's big. He's 6'5", 250 pounds, can spin it. And it goes back to the Mac Jones argument, and before the season, everybody discredited Mac Jones and said that Mac Jones, we're going to go down here. We lost to it. We're not going to be good because Mac Jones. And Mac Jones proved that you can win and you can be one of the greatest college football teams, as arguable now, one of the greatest football teams to ever line up and lace it. And he did that. And I think that Paul is in the same line with Mac Jones. And that's my opinion. And I think he has that same type of ability. He's bigger than Mac Jones. I mean, he is. I mean, he's a lot bigger than Mac Jones. And in my opinion, he probably has a lot stronger arm. And and that's one of the things that I'm anxious to see him get out there and prove to everybody that he can play football.
He's Rudy Griffin, folks. Coach Rudy Griffin live here on the phone lines. Former Alabama defensive lineman, head coach of Bessemer City Schools, but on here, one Paul Tyson, as Coach Griffin was also a defensive coordinator at Hewitt-Trussville High School, competing against one Paul Tyson. Coach Griffin, appreciate you so much, man, for taking time out to come on, join me, talk your guy, Paul Tyson, who is going to really make this quarterback race as intriguing, as interesting, as fun as it's ever been. I'm just amped up to get out here for spring football.
No doubt. Listen, I'm ready, man. I'm telling you right now, just imagine this. And somebody need to get Disney on the phone call. Just imagine Paul Tyson winning the national championship, being the first quarterback in Alabama history, win a Heisman Trophy winner, and do it to be the legacy guy, to be the one of the fathers of the program who built the program. Get Disney on the phone because that's a movie, baby. That is a movie.
That's definitely a motion picture, my man. Coach Griffin, you take it easy. Be good out there.
All right, big dog. Thanks for talking, man. Hey, always good to talk with you.
Absolutely, man. Coach Rudy Griffin here, folks. Former Alabama defensive lineman, head coach of Bessemer City Schools, somebody that knows Paul Tyson like none other. He got me fired up, man. I'm sweating and carrying on. Coach Griffin got me fired up, ready to run through a brick wall, and I haven't played ball since high school. Dear Jesus. But we're gonna take a break right now on the show. Upon our return, we jump back into the phone lines to take your calls, your thoughts, your opinions. We're talking Bama football with you, the fans. After this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit weownthefourthquarter.com now to get your 4-finger bling necklace. You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
We are back from the break here on the hottest show on the streets here for all things Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. I've officially wiped all the sweat off my face in that last segment. My man Rudy Griffin had me ready to run through a brick wall. But before we get into the call lines to take your calls, call statement brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang. Couple of super chats to get to. First and foremost, Willie351, baby. Willie351 donating that $777, helping us out there in the super chat. $777 coming from Willie351. And our own Spencer Reveley. Spencer the man Reveley donating that $5 donation with the super chats. Appreciate the love coming from those two. As always, our daily super chat goes $75. Daily super chat go. You guys as the fans have been absolutely phenomenal. Love the support, love the appreciation, love the passion that you bring to us here every time here on In My Own Words. And once again, before we get into the call lines, got to remind you of mybookie.ag. All right, guys, mybookie.ag. You can make the right play. Sign up today at mybookie.ag. And when you do make the right play and sign up, you use the promo code TDAlabama to get your deposit matched halfway all the way up to $1,000. That's mybookie.ag. You got the skills to pay the bills. You feeling good. You feeling lucky. You feeling fortunate. You feel like you know what you're doing when it comes down to wagering money on these Alabama football games. Check out our guys, mybookie.ag. That is mybookie.ag. We go to the phone lines right now, 205-448-1358. That is the number to dial to let your voice be heard, 205-448-1358. We take a call right now. I think this is my man, Coach Rich from Roanoke. Coach Richie Rich, what's up, man?
Hey, man, what's going on, brother? How you been?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. Better knowing that I'm talking to you now.
I know, man. It's been a while. I've had a lot going on. I'm going to try to make it quick, but I do want to hit on all three quarterbacks, two of them, Mac and Paul. I got a good friend I met about a year ago, and he told me right after the season started, oh, don't worry, Mac's going to be the man. He said, you just don't know. He said, Mac's going to be the man, because I was all in on Bryce. Well, few weeks after that, he said, "Oh, just wait till you get to see Paul Tyson next year." And I was like, "Really? Is he that good? You know, he's been there a while." He said, "Oh, he's Mac Jones 2.0." And I'd have saved some money had I listened to him during a few games. But anyway, Tua put out a video today of, man, he looks like a pit bull. Tua has never been as physically a shape as he's in right now. And they would be crazy, Miami, if they took Deshaun and give the draft picks, because the problem on offense isn't Tua. The problem on offense, they don't have any weapons. So they're going to keep Tua. He may go to the Panthers. All right, next one, Mac Jones. Have you? I know you didn't mention it, but there's been 2 ex-NFL head coaches that both of them coached for 30 years. The most recent one is June Jones. I can't remember the one from a month ago. But both of them said the same thing. They said, you're going to pick a quarterback number 1 overall, it'd be Mac Jones. That's who I would take because he's NFL ready. You put him in, you're going to win. But he needs to go to the right team, in my opinion. So it wouldn't be bad if he fell. But I think Mac will be picked no less than number 8. I think he'll go to the Bears, and he'll win because they got a great defense. Maybe Washington jumps up there and takes him. The Panthers, because they coached him, you know. We'll just have to see. But Mac, he'll do good. And I already agree with you about Paul. You know, and Bryce, it would do him some good to sit there and learn, just like Mac did, that Paul has done. And then maybe next year is, you know, his year. But if the boy can throw the ball 70, 80 yards, and he's got touch on the ball, he's got half the mind, just say Mac, because Mac said he would stay at Alabama and get his doctorate if Saban needs him to. That's for the year. So, you know, he's very intelligent. But you've been right on everything I know of, Stephen, so far. So I'm excited to see everything of the above, all the quarterbacks. Alabama used to put quarterbacks in the NFL, and I don't think none of us been starters till 2. But now they're going to have 2 or 3.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Appreciate that call. They're coming from our own Coach Rich out of Roanoke here talking Crimson Tide football. We take our next call right now. You're live on the show. What's going on?
Hey, how you doing, Steve? This is Hector Morales from San Antonio.
How we doing, Victor?
It's Hector, bro.
Well, how we doing, Hector? My bad. How we doing, Hector?
No problem. Hey, I just called. I was listening to you earlier about the Bryce Young and Paul Tyson's quarterback comparison, and I think you need to pump the brakes a little bit on the Paul Tyson. I think he's a good guy, but I think it's going to be Bryce Young, man.
I like Bryce. I like Bryce, but I just feel like Paul is born to do this. Like you don't have to stress the importance of Alabama football to Paul. And we have seen where in Alabama you don't necessarily need a 5-star quarterback to win a national championship. McElroy wasn't a 5-star. McCarron wasn't a 5-star. Coker wasn't a 5-star. I mean, yes, Tua came off the bench as a 5-star and got that, but Tua's sort of the outlier in all of this. Mac Jones wasn't a 5-star. So we have seen in the history of Alabama with Nick Saban, you take the guy that not only understands the system, but puts you in the best chance to win that national championship. Just to me, I feel like Paul Tyson puts this team in the best chance to go back-to-back here, something that Bama hasn't done since the 2011-2012 season. We appreciate Hector from San Antonio with that call. We definitely appreciate Hector there. We take our next call. You're live on the show. What's going on?
What's going on? Stephen M. Smith, Tide Man, calling in from Jackson, Mississippi.
Todd, man, what's happening with you, man?
Well, I'm doing well, brother. Hey, those were 2 great interviews, and I really enjoyed Coach Rudy Griffin, man. That guy, I was like you, man.
I'm telling you, I had to seriously wipe sweat from my face. Like I was like, put me a jersey on, put me in a game.
That's right, man. I'm ready for kickoff, baby. Yeah. But when I lived in Birmingham, I spent a lot of time in Bessemer, so that's a great community, man, and that's really cool. I'm gonna try to see if I can keep up with how his High School is doing there, and all the best to him, man. It's good stuff, and for him to say, just call it out, that Paul Tyson's got the strongest arm in college football, man. That's calling the shot right there, man. So that I tell you what, man, I'm excited about Paul Tyson. As far as the last caller, I think here's the thing with Bryce Young. Bryce Young is a 5-star guy, man. He's got all the tools, and here's the thing: if Paul Tyson is everything that you say and other people say that he is, well, Bryce Young, if he's everything that he's made out to be, then he's going to compete. He's just going, it's going to be a hot contest, and it's going to make both those guys stronger and better, and we're going to be set either way. I mean, we're going to be set either way. Whoever wins that job, and like you pointed out to me last time, don't sleep on Milroe. I mean, he's coming in from Texas. He's coming in with that Texas swagger. He ain't afraid of nothing. So we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine however it shakes out. As far as the Dolphins and Tua, I don't follow pro football. I've told you that before. It's just not my thing. So I don't know how all the ins and outs work, trades and all draft picks and all that kind of stuff. But I tell you what, I do know a little bit about the history, and I know that the Miami Dolphins blew it with Drew Brees. And if they were to get rid of Tua or trade Tua for, I don't care, man, they'd be repeating history. They do not want to get rid of Tua. They want to make the Drew Brees mistake again. And if Najee Harris and Devonta Smith both wind up lining on the same side of the ball with Tua, look out, man. That's going to be something to see. And I'm just excited, man. So I appreciate you breaking all this down, and good stuff. Great interviews by both guys, especially Coach Rudy Griffin. Roll Tide, and I'll catch you on Wednesday, man. Peace.
Absolutely. Appreciate that call. They're coming from Todd, man. Calling in here to the show. We got a couple of super chats to get to, and they are both from Jimmy the Bad Man Clay, y'all. I mean, Jimmy dropping in $40 donation and came behind that with a $25 donation. We have reached the daily super chat goal of $75. Jimmy Clay then pimped Walt in here and dropped a stack on everybody. Appreciate that from Jimmy Clay, man. Jimmy Clay, in the words of our own John Ivory, best donator in the game. Can't do it like Jimmy Clay's been doing it over here. But before we take our next break, I'm going to just say this. If the Miami Dolphins get Smitty and Najee Harris, I'm just going to say this. I'm going to have to start covering Alabama football and the Miami Dolphin football team. Like, if Miami pulls Smitty and Najee Harris, I'm going to have two credentials. I got to cover Alabama football on Saturdays, and I got to cover Miami Dolphin football on Sundays, and that's just going to have to be that way. But we'll see how it all boils down. We take our break right now. Before we take our break, my bad, we got to get the time before we take our break. I'm getting ahead of myself, my bad there. The topic here, how about JoJo Earl? JoJo Earl, the 4-star receiver that came in this class here for the Crimson Tide, he is already starting to hone his skills as a route runner. He's working with a running back / wide receiver trainer back home there in Texas. And Earl, as you've seen from this video, you already seen the footwork, the ability to stop and start back up on a dime. He's shifting his body weight a little bit out there. And after graduating Jalen Waddle to the upcoming NFL draft, it appears as though Alabama has found Waddle's clone in the likes of JoJo Earl. 5'9", 170 pounds. He's a little bit smaller than Waddle. But when you talk the speed, the burst, the acceleration, the play-making ability coming out of Aledo, Texas, Earl has all of this in spades. Now, he will be here as a summer enrollee. Going to be very exciting to see what he does, or as I like to call him, JoJo Earl. Got to see what he does in the upcoming season. But we actually going to take this call from Uncle Charles. Uncle Charles in the building. What's going on, my man?
What's up, man?
What's going on, brother, man?
Man, how you doing, bro?
Doing good, man. Happy to get your call in the queue, man. Talk to me.
Let me tell you something, man. Bob Bryant's grandson in Alabama is not by accident. It was aligned in the stars. Just to show if the sun sets and the moon sets at night. It was in the stars. Who would have thought that Bob Bryant's great-grandson would play at Alabama? So it's in his blood to be great. Now, we're going to have a quarterback competition, and the best man will stand alone. That's fine. If you ask me, I saw Bob Bryant's grandson play. He's a talent. So if he gets the starting job, I got no problem with it. So let me just say this to the college football. And I think Nick Saban knows what I'm talking about. The whole college football that want to challenge us for our title. We are the champs. We are the champs. So let me tell you, we are the big bad wolf on the big hill on the biggest side of town. Well, I decided as a big bad wolf, this big bad wolf wants to come out of his house and look down that hill. And know what he saw? He saw two wolves. Yeah? They had two different personalities, but they still was wolves. And the wolves was talking. Said, we're going to go up there and take that mansion from that big bad wolf. And they went on up there, and the big bad wolf opened that door. He destroyed them. The next day, the big bad wolf come out the house, out of his mansion. He had everything he needed in his hand out in his garden. He decided, let me just look over the hill again. And he saw 6 wolves. Even though they were 6 wolves, they had 6 different personalities, but they still was wolves. And they discussed that they were going to go up to that mansion and take that mansion from the big bad wolf. And they went on up there, and he opened the door. He destroyed them. Then the third day came. He said, I don't want to go out here, but I got to go and see what's over this hill. And then he went over and looked over that hill, and he seen 100,000 wolves. Even though it was 100,000 wolves, they had 100,000 different personalities, but they still was wolves. They decided, we're going to take that mansion. And they went on up there. And the big bad wolf opened the door like the other 2 times, and he fought those wolves. The big bad wolf didn't do good. He died trying. And he died paying a price. Why? Because he tried to protect his house. We got to protect our house, Alabama Nation. We got to protect our championship. And if you come up there at our mansion, at our title, you will get destroyed. And that's what I got to say, bro.
Appreciate that from Uncle Charles right there. Appreciate that call. Always a quality call coming from our own Uncle Charles calling into the show. Now we take the break. Upon our return, we'll get into a conversation involving Devonta Smith and the quarterbacks he played with, Mac Jones and Tua Tagovailoa. Devonta Smith had to make a decision which one he prefers, and it got a little stir going on social media. We'll talk the conversation after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to STSFootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to STSFootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, people, we are back in, tidying up some loose ends from the break on the hottest show on the streets here. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And we got to give a shout-out once again to Jimmy Clay, who dropped in another $25 via the Super Chats. I mean, he is just really really, really doing this thing here, helping us out here on the show. We appreciate every single last one of you guys for calling in, for tuning in, for writing in, for donating in. It is you, the Alabama fan base, that makes this show special. You guys make my job so much fun, so much easier, and so much exciting to do. So definitely appreciate each and every last one of you. And before we get into the final topic of conversation here, got to remind you of tdaware.com. That is tdaware.com. So, folks, check this out here. For all of you Alabama fans that are still excited, overjoyed with the Tide's national championship, check out our championship collection merch. Grab you 18 of them things, folk. T-shirt, hoodie, or sweatshirt, as well as our Got 18 We Do shirts. Designs which feature all 18 championship years on the back. You head over to tdaware.com. That's tdaware.com. Do it now and go to the Championship Collections tab and get you that merch today, showing that support for Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. So now we get into the conversation that has created quite the stir on Twitter, and that is Devonta Smith. He spoke with a team. He spoke with the perspective. He spoke with one NFL team, and according to the insider for the Monday Morning Quarterback, that being one Albert Breer, Devonta Smith was directed the question point blank by one team: who do you prefer at quarterback, or who do you like? Who would you prefer at quarterback? Is it Mac Jones, or is it Tua Tagovailoa? He was directed the question point blank. And so Smitty, without hesitation, said he prefers Mac Jones. And when he said this, you had a lot of Tide fans and Dolphin fans on Twitter going, I don't know why he said this. You know, of all the moments where Smitty could have remained neutral, Smitty could have pleaded no comment, Smitty could have just kind of stayed out of it, he just had to sit there and say he prefers, Mac Jones over Tua Tagovailoa. And it's just been a huge kind of stir, a huge kind of commotion, a huge kind of – the thing has been blown tremendously out of proportion, if you ask me. And it's not that Smitty was trying to mean any harm by what he said, because he was not trying to mean any harm by what he said. He never meant any harm by, stating what he had to state. I mean, honestly, when you look at the data and the numbers, the one big season where Smitty got a chance to be not only the leading man, but the Heisman Trophy winner, the Biletnikoff Award winner, the Maxwell Award winner, the Walter Camp Award winner, the Associated Press Player of the Year, the SEC Offensive Player of the Year, the one season where he was able to collect all of the awards that he received or that he earned, and the one year he was finally able to be the number one guy for Alabama football, the face of the Crimson Tide's offense, and one of the biggest faces of college football is with Mac Jones being the starting quarterback. I mean, this past season, 117 catches for 1,856 yards and 23 touchdowns. Now, this is not dismissing or discrediting all of the memories that Tua made with Smitty, or that Smitty made with Tua, because Smitty holds that 2nd and 26 in the national championship game against Georgia in high esteem. Smitty still holds the touchdown reception, the first ever touchdown reception that he caught from Tua against Vanderbilt in 2017 to high esteem. Smitty still holds the performances that he had with Tua against Ole Miss and against LSU in 2019 to high esteem. With Tua, Smitty had 19 touchdown receptions. So this is not him saying that he's discrediting Tua in any sense of the imagination. Smitty has also been on record to say at the Senior Bowl he would be fine playing anywhere in the NFL, but if he had the ability to run it back with Tua and to be back with Tua again, he mentioned that'd be cool. I would love to have that happen. So to me, I feel like people kind of just blew this completely out of proportion. There are moments where I reflect back to something my grandmother used to always say when I was a child. And, prior to her passing away, this past a year ago, she would always tell me, child, sweetie, you can be at the right church and sitting at the wrong pew. And for the life of me, I wonder, what the heck does my grandmother mean by that? Like, I couldn't capture that thing for the life of me until I got older. Then I began to understand what she meant by that was you can say the right thing, you can do the right thing, but it happens at the wrong time. And I feel like in Smitty's case, Smitty said that, and it wasn't wrong on Smitty's part. He was just stating his opinion, and he had the facts to kind of back that up. But in the NFL, where you got a lot of people out there that will twist your words up, that will misconstrue your words, that will pull your words out of context and make it seem like you're a villain when you're not trying to be a villain. And for Smitty, this is welcome to pro football. Welcome to the NFL, where people can be ruthless at times. People will take what you say, and though you didn't mean for it to be anything like the way they pictured it, anything like the way they painted it, they will paint that out for you. So to me, I feel like this was kind of blown completely out of context because he loves both guys. Smitty appreciates what Mac did. Smitty appreciates what Tua did. It's just that with Tua, Smitty was never the number one guy. Yes, he made clutch plays. Yes, he made clutch receptions with Tua. But when you bring it up to people, who was Tua's number one favorite receiver, as always, before Smitty's name is uttered out, people are going to always go to Jerry Jeudy. People are going to always go to Henry Ruggs. People are going to always go to Jalen Waddle. People are going to even go to the likes of Irv Smith at tight end when Irv was catching passes from Tua. And this is no disrespect. This is no knock towards Smitty in any way, shape, or form. He just had to share the spotlight with everybody around him. He was not the number one guy. With Mac, Smitty became the number one guy. And especially when Waddle got hurt, Mac looked primarily toward Devonta Smith. And it didn't matter if he was single covered, double covered, triple covered, quadruple covered. If they had to do the whole Bobby Buckets, it's real 85 thing and send the whole SWAT team at Devonta Smith, he still looked at Mac and said, bruh, get me the ball. I'm open even when I'm not open. And Mac Jones got him the football. And opposing teams could do nothing about it. So it's just when, he had Mac, Smitty had his best season by far in college football as an Alabama football wide receiver. But to end all be all, if I'm the Miami Dolphins, I'm still taking Smitty as a number 3 overall pick. I'm still not second guessing this. I'm still not overthinking this. I'm still not giving myself any type of confusion. Look, the young man runs the best routes in football. He's got the best hands in football. I don't care that he's only 175 pounds. He's going to give you every ounce of himself, every inch of himself. He is going to make big-time explosive plays every single time he is on that field. And furthermore, in continuing to be committed to Tua, you got to put the guys around him that he's the most familiar with. And Devonta Smith is somebody that Tua is the most familiar with. So do I disapprove of what Smitty said? No. Spoke his mind, had the facts to back it up. It's just, one of those situations where when you go to the next level, you're going to have people out there that will take your words and sometimes twist them and misconstrue them. And, you didn't mean anything by what the people are painting you out to be. I mean, it all goes back to, remember, Jalen Hurts back in 2018. Remember when he went out there in fall camp and said his piece, and everybody said, well, Jalen's not a team guy. Jalen's all about himself. Jalen's not about team. Jalen was always about team, and he was about team in that particular year. In 2018, he was just trying to get his point across and speak his piece. And this is Devonta Smith speaking his mind on who would he prefer at the quarterback position. But as always, folks, you want the best in news, notes, information, and coverage on your favorite program, that being the Crimson Tide. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you just so happen to have the Android phone. For your audio listening needs, we got you right here. iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn, Google Play, Overcast.fm, iHeartRadio. We got you covered right there. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I'll be back on Wednesday, continuing the conversation that is Tide football. One more time, get it for the barbecue, Jimmy Clay. Get in there, JC. Jimmy Clay, that $25 donation. Viva Super Chats. Put some water on that man, because that flame is hot. Jimmy Clay doing what he does, helping us out here on the show, that $25 donation. But as always, Tide fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, have those sent to your door. That link will be in the description. If you want the print copy of the magazine, you do this right here. You go to touchdownalabama.com, you click join, you become a subscriber today to the online site. That link will be found in the description as well. You can also still copy that four-finger bling necklace courtesy of WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. Check them out right now. That link in the description. But until next time, folks, husbands, love your wives. Wives, appreciate, value those husbands. Children, do the right thing, the legitimate thing, to not be bored. Be sure to get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. Protect yourself, protect the loved ones around you. Till next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith, and you have been listening to In My Own Words.